Hey guys, I am out here at the skate park and running kind of early on a project. Have about less than an hour to kill, and I decided to come up to the skate park, skate a little bit, and then once I got up here I just kind of decided I had all my gear, might as well just film something. And it's the first beautiful, it's literally middle of winter and it's like 60 degrees out. It's a little windy. Hopefully it's not too bad on the mic, but I just decided why not just kind of share my story on why I got into photography. And so yeah, I'm just gonna do that. I'm gonna skate, I'm gonna throw it together, and hopefully you guys like it. I'm not really much of a vlogger necessarily, but we'll try it. So apparently, if I even show the B-roll, I have sustained an injury. I was recording some video work with a friend, and we were being dumb, and I'm pretty sure I hurt my knee because I cannot bend down to pop a trick. It's hurting pretty bad. Yeah, so I think I'm just gonna talk instead of skating. Dang. In 9th grade, I picked up skateboarding. A neighbor of mine had bought a skateboard. My little brother and I would use it and roll down the hill, and we'd all hang out. Well, one day my mom bought us some Walmart skateboards, and we decided we were skateboarders. There was a few spots around our neighborhood that we would go and just try to ollie up a curb or manual across something, and we didn't really know skateboarding. We didn't really know the culture. We didn't know anything at all. We just knew we really enjoyed it and had fun. Well, going into 9th grade, we started to make other friends who were skateboarders, and we started to learn more about the culture and got into skate videos and got into skate magazines. And I just kind of fell into going through the magazines and seeing all of these photographs and watching these skate videos and thinking to myself, I want photos like this. Like I want somebody to get photos of me like this. And so my goal was to figure out how to do that. I ended up getting a Lumix point and shoot from my mom. It was actually her camera. I just borrowed it one day to take it out skateboarding and just kind of never gave it back. Lo and behold, I sucked at skateboarding. I was not that good. I love it still to this day. I just was not nearly as good as I wanted to be. I just was too afraid of stuff. But one thing I loved was photographing it. I loved filming it. And with that Lumix point and shoot, I started taking photos of my friends that kind of looked like what I was seeing in magazines. And I was throwing together daily videos of just us hanging out, us doing some hoodlum stuff, and just thinking it was funny and making videos for ourselves kind of thing. And I still have a few of those videos and a few of those photos. Not really very many. Unfortunately, I did not know how to properly back stuff up and protect it, and I didn't understand redundancy, and I lost just about everything from that time period of my life for years and years. Learned a really hard lesson. I got into it more, and the more that I got into it, I started to get better gear. And by that I mean a friend of mine had a nice camera and let me borrow it. I was poor, I was broke. You know, he skateboarded with us. He also did music, and he knew that I was really into photography, and so he allowed me to borrow the camera as long as I was doing, you know, I could take photos of skateboarding, but I'd also do photos for him or do photos for, you know, the people he was doing music with, which was perfectly fine for me because at the time I was also doing music. I was traveling with other musicians, playing at little festivals, playing at bars, coffee shops, churches, all kinds of different stuff. And while I was at these shows, I was also shooting photo for all the other bands and all the other songwriters and all the other acts in general. I would shoot them, and then for free, just I knew most of them, and for me it was just kind of a way to have fun, a way to make friends, a way to put myself out there. And so I would shoot these photos, and I did a little bit of video work. At the time, I wasn't necessarily confident in that at all, but I didn't know how to edit a video. I did not know anything about Premiere or anything that had existed at the time. This was maybe 2011, 2010, 11, 12, somewhere in that frame. But I did know how to put them in an editor, splice some stuff together, and that's basically what I did. I did that for a while. I shot a lot of stuff, shot for a lot of people, did little band things, did skateboarding stuff, and then I kind of quit. Had to give the camera back. He was wanting to sell it. He was not a photographer. He just kind of had the stuff because his parents bought it for him, because he was wanting to use it to get into some stuff, but he himself was not a photographer. And he knew that, and he knew it was just an asset. He could sell it off, use the money for his production, and that's what he did. And so I was back to square one, no real camera, but I was also kind of burnt out, just because I kind of hit a wall. For me, I was just kind of doing the same thing over and over. I wasn't really having fun with it, partially because I didn't know what I was really doing. I was running into seeing people's photos and realizing they were good, but not knowing why or how they accomplished what they accomplished. Oh, wait. So I started to pursue music, songwriting, did a lot of that, led worship for churches, did a lot of songwriter stuff.
Let me hold your hand and look into those eyes. Let me tell you how I feel on this summer's night.
Put out an EP. I moved to South Carolina for roughly a year to pursue music, playing on the streets, did a lot of busking. During that time, I really didn't want to do photography. I would see stuff, I liked this stuff, but I didn't have the money. If you haven't realized by now, photography is expensive. And don't get me wrong, I would love to have that Lumix point shoot again. I'd love to shoot with it, especially now that I know what I'm doing. I feel like it would be different. And I think I was just in that mindset of, if I can't have something really good, why do it? Yeah, I got bored of it. And then I started a new job at a coffee shop close to where I live. Is about 30 minutes from where I live. And while working there were a handful of photographers and videographers who frequented the shop, who eventually started working at the shop, hung out at the shop, became really close friends with. And they all kind of just encouraged me to try and like take photos again, because we talk about photography and I'd show little photos here and there. I ended up having this trip come up that a friend of mine was moving to New Mexico. He told me if I helped him move across the country, he would give me a camera, a Nikon D700. And I was totally like, yes, let's do it. Okay, yeah, that sounds fun to me. A, free trip across the country. B, I get a camera out of it. And C, I get to hang out with my friend. Yeah, no brainer. It was just a great time that I knew I was getting this camera. So along the car ride, I just picked his brain. We talked, watched a lot of The Office, but then also just talked about photography, talked about different stuff. And flash forward, I come back, got the camera, start shooting. Within a couple months, I decided I was going to reach out to my first company, small business. I started doing social media work for them, just doing some photo video work, which led to another gig for a clothing apparel company, led to another gig, and eventually I had a handful of clients and was shooting a bunch of stuff. It was really awesome. Got kind of burnt out really quick because it was a lot of work that I was not ready for. COVID hit, they all shut down. I had some time to breathe and reorganize what I really wanted to do, reevaluate my career as a photographer, and it was probably the greatest thing because I had plenty of time to just shoot for fun. I got offered some weddings. I took the weddings and shot them that year, and I loved it. It was a lot of fun. And in that time, I started shooting a lot more street photography. It's hard to call it that when you're in such a small town. But just kind of like walking around and documenting my town, documenting my life, kind of stuff like that. And yeah, and that basically got me here. And since then I've picked up, I do a lot of more video work as well. But yeah, so that's basically it. I used to do it when I was younger, got burnt out, and then rediscovered it thanks to a handful of friends who just pushed me and saw potential in me and really just invested in me. I mean, they invested time, they also invested money, they also invested gear. There's so much stuff that I wouldn't be able to do as the sun comes out. There's so much stuff I would not have been able to do if it wasn't for these friends, if it wasn't for these people, this community of photographer, videographers that I happened to just walk into by mistake, just by saying yes to a job. So thanks for checking out the video. Thanks for just kind of, you know, following along. There was no photography really in this video, just kind of talking. Maybe I'll go more in depth one day, maybe show some old photos, what I do have. And yeah, I think that would be a lot of fun. Maybe you guys would enjoy it, maybe not, but until then, enjoy this.